Hi, this is Gil Robles again, and uh, if you hear some background noise, I have my window open, so I hear a little noise coming from outside. Actually, somebody's playing a trumpet or something. But anyway, before I go on into the main video, I just want to respond to a question that was asked of me as to how do I get my hard edges. Now, I did this quick little sketch to demonstrate how to get these hard edges or how I control my edges or whatever. First things first, let me just say that when you open up the image or you set up your image size, this is kind of like where to start off from, okay? And this is just basic. A lot of people will tell you these same dimensions, at least to start off from, where you know what, you 15 by 10 inches, and at a resolution no less than 300 pixels per inch, because that right away will get rid of anything that doesn't look crisp. So you have a much crisper image, your lines will look better and so forth. So at least if you have it at this size. Now I'm using inches for the document size, and the resolution is 300 pixels per inch. Okay, now you can go bigger than that. How big depends on your computer, but it's not necessary because you can take that image and you can blow it up. Let me see, if I were to take an image that I had done recently and blow this up. Let me see. You can see that it holds together and it doesn't start to pixelate till you get really into it. But you can blow this up pretty big. So so that's number one. Number two is I did this quick sketch, and it doesn't matter. Say if you want to use this tool, and you have the flow and you have the size. Doesn't matter how big it is. Let's see. Let's do a multiply layer so we don't. Well, nah. Yeah, so we don't lose the image. So say, let me. So I'm going past the line that I meant, right? So another way to get these crisp lines is simply to do this. You go past the line, and then you get your edge this way by using your eraser when you erase the thing. Now, another thing is that you see when you have that type of resolution as well, you have your lines do come out crisp. They don't come out soft, and they don't blend them right away unless you want to blend it. So that's another thing. So that takes care of just now. This isn't the main painting, so I'm not going to get carried away with this. I just wanted to show basically how you get crisp lines. How do you get lines to bleed off? I use a smudge tool sometimes to blend, and there's different smudge tools, but you play around with your brushes. Other than that, if I want to put down something, um, you know, see it's a very hard line right there, so I would need to blend that, you know. But say if I had like I did with this, if I put down a softer line, you know, then I would want to come back into it. This is a soft erase, and it only, you can adjust how the amount erased here, so it doesn't erase everything right away. It's another great tool to use. And then there's the hard eraser, which has the same properties. I don't know why there's two of the same thing. Well, here you can go ahead and make crisp lines, and this is good for when you go outside the area that you've painted in. Like you go out here and you wanted to come back and make your edge harder, you can do that. All right, so that's it. That's how you get your hard lines, and you get your blends and all of that. And there's other things that you can do too, but this is basically it. Okay, so on with the regular video. Okay, so here I am starting a new painting, and one of the things is that I know I showed before some of the ways that you can achieve a hard line, or you can blend, stuff like that. What I do with these portraits especially is more a direct way of painting, and I don't excuse me, I don't do a lot of that what you might call use a lot of airbrush or whatever. It's not one of my go-to brushes, but what I do, because the resolution is high enough, I really the brush strokes are crisp enough so that I don't have to do a lot of that, though I do resort every now and then to the eraser and such. And also, before I go on, let me just say I want to invite everyone to come to a different YouTube channel that I have. On these videos that I have here, I usually speed up the video to condense what could be an hour to 2 hours worth of painting, or even longer than that, into something like 20-30 minutes or less if possible. And what I wanted to do was introduce a YouTube channel where I draw and paint in real time, and it's mainly sketching. It's digital sketching, and because I do a lot of sketching, and one of the things is that it would be easier for me to keep up like that, and I'll still post over here, and I like doing these, and I'm going to strive to be more consistent, but sketching is something that I do every day. So if I spend like 30 minutes creating a video, it's a natural thing. It's something that I definitely will have time for, and I definitely will do. And the biggest challenge comes really not in making or recording the video, but editing it and putting the audio and stuff. But with doing the digital channel, I'll have the the audio will be on there, because I'll do it all in real time. So I wouldn't have to add the audio later. Anyway, I'm going to leave the link. It's fun. I'm having fun with it. I've already posted 3 videos on there, and I could use some subscribers. So if you're interested, please come on over, check out the new channel, and see if you like it. It definitely gives me more of an opportunity to go over my thinking as I draw, and also to talk about the tools that I'm using and so forth, so that so it would be a little bit or a lot more informative than what I do here, depending on the video, of course. But anyway, that's it. That's my new channel. Come have fun, look at some digital sketching, and perhaps it would be informative for you as well. As far as this painting is concerned, what I'm doing is something that I had done in my other channel. As a matter of fact, I had set up some a palette, and this is a monochrome palette of going from taking 5 values, going from dark to light, and basically using those values to start off with my drawing, because I'm depending more and more, as I should, on the drawing that I do ahead of time and making sure that that is correct, as well as going ahead and working out the values in monochrome, either grayscale or some warm ochreish tones and so, or sepia tones and so forth, and doing it this way, because then with that, what I'm doing is I'm working out all of the drawing. I'm working out the drawing, and I'm working out the values ahead of time, so that I stay within a particular value scales, and it's easier to control my value so it doesn't jump up. That was been a concern of mine for a long time when it comes to digital painting, because for me it's the digital paint is so high key, and it's so easy to have the values jump, and I wanted to keep things within a reasonable value range. Excuse me once again. Now, you look at painters. I'm thinking of a painter like Tiepolo, Giambattista Tiepolo, who I hope I pronounced his first name right. Italian Rococo painter, and if you look at particularly his drawings have three values, and he uses a pen and a wash, and he uses the color of the paper or the shade of the paper as a value as well. So he has the pen line has the darkest deposit of ink, and that would be his darkest value, and then he has a wash which will add value, and then that would be it. And he'd use the paper itself as the lightest value. And so, you know what, you want to keep control. You don't want to have too many values. You want to be concerned with your darkest dark, and then your middle tone, and then your light. And your light doesn't mean the highlights. You know, the light is something lighter than the middle value, and then you can pretty much work out a painting with just that, and then use your highlights sparingly. Now, if you like to render like I do, you will frequently brush past that and have to rein in the values that you place down and be constantly aware of it. But if I start off right away, as I did before with that monochromatic palette, I can build my colors on top of that and keep within those values. There's different ways of doing this. I'm doing this the way I've always done my paintings, and that is to say that I would start on a layer and then do whatever I do there, and then I open up another layer and I reduce the opacity on that layer, and I continue to paint and add onto that layer. Then I merge the layer, and then I go on to another layer, and I control the opacity so that way I can blend in the painting more easily, and keep control of the values as well, and also introduce either warm or cool colors into the paintings, or or some grays or whatever. But and at the same time, when I use the layers, I can also go back and correct some of the drawing, so it's useful in that way. So that's the way I've always used it. In a painting I did recently on my other channel, what I did was that I used instead of using the normal mode, I went and used the overlay, and I started out that way. And it's also an interesting way of approaching interesting way of approaching the painting, and using the layer editor and the different blend modes. So I was experimenting. Now, this isn't something that I created. This is something as I watched other people do, I picked up from, and I highly recommend going through as many videos as you can. I mean, if this is your interest, if this is something that you want to grow in, look at the artists that you like, and look at the things that they do. Don't just necessarily imitate their style, but look at the solutions that they come up with, and the way that they paint. And as a matter of technique, you can pick up different things from them. And that's what I do a lot. I look at what other people are doing, and a lot of it is, I mean, using the overlay is pretty standard. People do that a lot, and so it's not something that belongs to any one particular person. It's just a way of using the layers that you're able to in any of these programs. So I again take a look at my other at the videos on my other channel, and you'll see the digital sketch channel. And again, I'll leave a link to it on the bottom, and you'll see that the different ways that I've used the layer. And again, it'll be done in real time so that I can explain it. And when I say real time, it's not going to be an hour-long video or 2-hour-long video. I'm not trying to get heavily into details and paint. I'm sketching, and sketching can be a lot of fun, and that's what I try to do when I do sketches. I try to go ahead and have a lot of fun and relax. It's not something that I necessarily have to get right. And it's sketching is a place to experiment. Sketching is a place to try new things. Sketching is a place to challenge yourself. Sketching is a place where you're not so concerned about someone looking over your shoulder. And that's a funny thing, because that's always been a challenge for me, is when I do a painting, or say when I go out and I paint with a group, I'm always aware of someone looking over my shoulder and wondering what they think about my painting. Is it just does it look like crap to them, or what do they think? And of course, it's always at a time where I'm very self-critical, and my painting does not look the best. There are times where, not saying that a painting would be perfect, but there are times where you feel more comfortable with your painting, and that can last for about 2 hours to 2 days, and then you start picking up all your mistakes and say, "Dag, I wished I would have changed this, or I wish I would have did that, or I would do this differently at another time," or whatever. But I go through periods of being self-critical and looking at my work and thinking that at one point I thought this was good, and then at another point I'm being critical of myself, which is not a bad thing. Actually, it could be a good thing. I recently looked over a bunch of files that I had. I have a bunch of files on my job from things that I had scanned and saved on the computer at work, and I looked at it and I said, my gosh, these things are terrible. And at the time I didn't think that they were terrible. I was just struggling to get better at drawing. Sometimes they seemed okay to me, sometimes they didn't. And now I'm wondering if, in another 5 or 10 years, when I look at my work, what am I going to think of it? If I've gotten better at it, to say that, hey, this is not, I don't think this is up to par, or it may not be such a bad thing. But it's just me being this is just not being me being self-critical. It's a way of indicating that you've grown a lot, that you've changed, and not saying that for me that I've reached any pinnacle or whatever. My work has just improved, which is what it should do. for some years. Now I'm looking for a particular brush, and this is a smudge brush that's called Hair, and it's in the brush set, one of the brush sets here, and it's kind of nice for what I'm doing with the beard right now, and that is pushing the hair around, pushing the paint around, so that it would look splayed or like hair would, and it gives a texture of hair, which is kind of nice. And I'm kind of glad they put that brush there. There's a lot of smudge brushes. A lot of the other ones would give you a similar effect. This one seems to be already set up for this, and it was a nice surprise to find this brush. So yeah, so it's a great brush to use. I don't use a lot of the smudge brushes. I generally like to use, I like to paint, and my style and the way I do things is really derived from the fact that I've worked in traditional media for so long that I'm sure there are different ways or different shortcuts, like the overlay, using the layer editor to and using the overlay blend mode is an old method of doing things. It's something that a lot of people have done, and I just recently found out about it by watching videos and by learning what other people are doing, and it works for me. But the thing is that I'm more used to painting directly. I'm more used to loading a brush with paint and just putting it on and controlling it as much as it can as it goes on the board or the paper or whatever. So my approach, even in painting digitally, is much the same way, in that I just generally work more directly, as if I was working in gouache or in oil or so forth, and I like working that way. I really do. I don't like it when it becomes too technical, though I understand that all these technical advances are really great for when you're working in the industry. You're working in some kind of capacity as a concept artist or as an illustrator, and these shortcuts really help. These different ways of doing things using the technology rather than painting directly, and really everybody's work is a combination of both, and I do use it when I do my illustration work, and to help out. But for the most part, when I'm doing portraits like this, and I'm doing things really like this is for myself. It's for my YouTube channel, and I'm doing it for myself. I really rely on the way I've always done my work, and that is to work on things directly, to work on things using tools that are familiar to me from working all these years in traditional media. So I do it in a similar way. But yeah, I do my illustrations, and I use whatever technical help that I can use in order to complete the assignment. And when it comes in that I have to make changes, I do that too. Whatever helps to make those changes, whatever helps to speed up the process, because that I'm getting paid for, and I'm on a deadline, and I want to make sure that I do it on time, as opposed to something like this, there is no deadline, other than any deadlines that are self-imposed, and I have the time to complete this at my leisure and to do it in a way that I enjoy doing. And this is fun for me. This is a great deal of fun, to be able to sketch a terrific character like this, to be able to draw or paint a terrific character like this. Is a lot of fun, and I enjoy doing it. So there you have it. Now, like I said, I'm going to continue on this channel, and I'm going to introduce some more videos. But maybe with the sketching on the other channel, this also gives me the opportunity to do something that's a little bit more complicated. I finished a few paintings recently that also, didn't include just a portrait, but include a background and so forth. And those things would be fun to post and to include in this channel, because it gives me an opportunity to do something a little bit more. Whereas in the sketch channel, it would be something like this, and except that it would be done in real time, and I would be able to explain the tools as I'm using them. So I'll have two channels going, and they'll be hopefully informative and a lot of fun. And this painting is coming to a close. I really enjoyed doing this. That this is what else to say? This has been a lot of fun. I just like it when you have someone who obviously has a lot of character, and this could be an old wizard or something like that, and it just looks very interesting. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Please, if you enjoyed this video, you're here for the first time, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll be able to see more videos like this. Please make comments, give me feedback, let me know what you think, and also please join me on my new channel. The link will be below, and tell me what you think about that channel as well. All right. It's always tough to know when to stop, and you'll see that on my other channel. As I'm doing things in real time, it's hard to know exactly when to say enough is enough on a painting. But right now, this is enough. All right. Well, that's it. Thank you so much. Again, I'm leaving the link below, and I'll see you soon.